Former President Trump's comments last night in New Hampshire on immigration sparking backlash across the political spectrum today. This is Mr. Trump is enjoying a wider lead in brand new Fox polls out today. For more, let's bring in our political panel, Blue Stack Strategies founder and principal Maura Gillespie and Third Way co-founder Matt Bennett. Welcome to both of you. So a look at the latest Fox poll. You have Governor Christie's outraged, but then in the new Fox poll, former President Trump is up to now 69% support among Republican primary voters. Ron DeSantis at 12, Nikki Haley at 9, Vivek Ramaswamy at 5, and former Governor Chris Christie at 2. Matt, what about that comment in those numbers?
It's extraordinary. I mean, there's no question that Donald Trump represents what the Republican base wants their nominee to be doing and saying. And the kinds of things that he was saying yesterday, and I don't say this often, but I agree with Chris Christie that it was absolutely revolting. The things he's saying, that is directly out of Mein Kampf. Poisoning the blood is a Hitlerian way of talking about the people that he doesn't want in this country, and he gets enormous cheers for it, and he gets a bump in the polls for it. So I think what you're seeing is Trumpian right-wing populism has taken hold of the Republican electorate, and normie candidates are not getting any traction.
Let's show the audience the movement in the poll. Trump was 62% last month. DeSantis down a point to 12% from a month ago. Haley from 10% to 9%. So the rivals slipped slightly and former president gained. Maura, your thoughts?
I think for us as a Republican Party, but also as a country, we historically have very low turnout when it comes to primary elections. And that's one of our #1 problems, is that, especially in the Republican Party, we don't show up for primaries. And as a nation, we're under 30% for turnout. And that's really, really damaging as far as getting a general election candidate, to the end result in the ticket. And I have said this countless times, I don't think the country is jazzed about a Biden versus Trump matchup. And we need to look beyond that. And it would behoove us as a country to select somebody else to go against Biden.
Choice for president if voting now. Trump 41%, Biden 37%, RFK Jr. 14%, Jill Stein 3%, Cornel West 2%. How troubling is that, Matt, for President Biden and his campaign team?
Look, nobody, including me, likes to see polls like this, and they've been pretty consistent over the last couple of months. But I think it's important to remember the election is still almost a year away, so a lot can change. The economy continues to improve. People may begin to feel that in their regular lives, and that could change their view of Biden. But the big thing is that those polls are a referendum on Biden. They're asking people, how do you feel about Biden, the guy who has been president for the last 3 years? When they go to vote in November, it's a choice, and they will be reminded by about $1 billion of advertising on the part of Biden and his allies who they're choosing between, Joe Biden and that guy we just discussed who's talking about poisoning the blood of Americans. And I think in the end, they will make the right choice.
Maura, we're likely to have some of those independent third-party type candidates. So those numbers, your thoughts?
Assuming that the majority of Americans will just go and vote for Joe Biden because they don't want to vote for the other guy, or you're assuming that they will not choose the person who is touting and support of what Putin said about him, what Kim Jong-un said about him, that's a terrible strategy. And again, I think the American people are frustrated by this, is that Joe Biden is just banking on people feeling though he's not the worst choice. That's not compelling, that's not encouraging or inspiring. And we already have a voter turnout problem in this country, as I mentioned previously. And we need to be inspiring people to come out to the polls. It's super important. And so I would hope that people in our party are rallying around Nikki Haley or someone else who can get to the top of the ticket. But, as far as economy goes, what Matt said is right. They're looking at their pockets right now. Do they feel as though the economy is as good as economists are telling us, that it's, hit the soft landing? No, we don't feel that. And the housing market would also tell you that things aren't viable for most Americans. So those are going to be real concerns. And again, yes, we're 10 months away, but it's still a concern. And I don't see how rapidly it will change come November.
Let me put on the screen the Democratic presidential nominee polling number. Only 43% want Biden, 54% want someone else. Matt, briefly, what about that?
Look, this has been an obsession for me and for my organization over the last year or so. We are very worried about the third-party threat because people are feeling pretty grumpy about having to choose between essentially the current president and the former president. But third parties don't win elections. So ultimately, what we have to convince people is don't throw your vote away. Vote for one of the people that you think can actually win.
All right, Matt Bennett, Maura Gillespie, thanks so much for your time. Have an awesome day.